relating are fixed assets. Okay, so for today's day and date. Continuing with the journal. And today we are seeing some special entries relating to fixed assets. So first of all, I'm giving you some formula. Just write those formula. Number one, book value. So let's first write the full forms. Book value of assets is equals to the original cost of the asset, original cost minus total depreciation till date of sale. Till date of sale. Now, what is this DOS? Please write the full form of DOS. DOF stands for date of sale. Keep on writing, please, the formulas. So number one is book value of asset is equals to original cost minus depreciation till date of sale. Then in the second step, we have to compare the book value. Okay, this is book value, the short form, original cost. And this is, this I also can call accumulated depreciation. This we also call accumulated depreciation. Ashmit, why do you always join late? Please join in time. Quickly take down these formulas. Number one is book value of assets is equals to original cost of that asset which we are selling minus total depreciation till date of sale. Okay, please write what does DOS stands for, date of sale. And in the second step, we have to compare the book value, this which we have calculated in formula 1, as per 1. We have to compare this with the selling price on the date of sale, obviously. And this will find us the gain or loss on sale of an asset. So if, number 3, if my book value is greater than my selling price, then it is a loss. Okay, book value minus selling price will give you what? Loss. And if your selling price is higher than your book value, then it will be gain. Loss on sale of asset or gain on sale of asset. And you know that if it is loss, it should be debited, and if it is gain, it will be credited. We know that losses are debited and gains are credited. The rule of clear. Okay. We have 5 types of accounts: capital, liabilities, expenses, assets, and revenues. So capital, liabilities, and revenues have basic credit nature. When they increase, we credit them. Expenses and assets have basic debit nature. When they increase, we debit them. When they decrease, like when we sell the assets, we'll have to credit that asset. So these formulas are very, very important. These formulas we are going to repeat when we do the chapter depreciation. So again, depreciation, we are going to do the same formula. So make it clear now itself. Okay, it will help you later also. Now, when we sell the assets, when we purchase the asset, okay, maybe let's talk about the sale of assets because we've been doing the sale of assets. So with the sale of assets, the entry would be bank or cash account debit. Because when you're selling the asset, you will get a check or you will get cash. Okay. And if you don't get either of them, then that person will become your debtor. Okay. So debtor account debit. And if it is loss on sale of asset account debit. And you know how to calculate this loss. I've given you the formula. Number 3. Okay. 2, that asset name. Now see, why am I crediting? Because when I sell the asset, the value goes down. Okay, so if the asset decreases, we'll have to credit the basic rule. And if it is gain on sale of asset, then we credit gain on sale of asset. Okay, but either it will be gain or it will be loss. Can't be both. So if it is gain, you have to credit it. If it is loss, you have to debit it. Very simple. Asset will be credited with the book value, but okay, asset, this amount which we are going to put in front of this, we know the journal entry. We should also know what amount to fill in there. Because if any of the thing is wrong, either your particulars you have put in wrong account or wrong amount, then the marks will go away. Okay, so each journal entry for 1 mark, you wouldn't get, fraction of marks. So if any one of the thing, any particular or any amount is wrong, it's wrong. You get nothing. So you have to be very, very particular about everything. Be very clear. These are not very difficult things. Basic clear ka rule is being followed. And then the special entries I told you how like we did the entries relating to goods, where the special thing was the purchases was credited always. Otherwise, in general, purchases is a revenue expenditure and it is debited. Purchase returns are credited. So you have to remember these special entries like, when you give away the goods for charity, donation, loss of goods by theft or in transit or by fire, or when you're taking away the goods for personal use, or you're using the goods for constructing your own assets. In all these cases, your purchases are credited. Okay. So this is regarding your sale of asset. This entry should be very learned by heart. Okay. Very carefully you have to learn it. Please learn it by heart, the sale of asset entry. Then the next one which we are going to do is the purchase of an asset, which is a simple entry. Purchase of an asset. We had done it already. I'm just revising it. Purchase of an asset is your asset account debit, because asset when increases will be debited. So when we purchase the asset balance increases, asset account debit, whatever the name of the asset is. We don't debit purchases account over here. That is only for goods. Our assets are for use in the business for a long period of time. Okay, the intention is not to sell them, but to use in the business. That is the difference between goods and assets. So asset account debit to cash, or if you're making the payment through bank, or if you're making the payment, if you're not making the full payment to creditor or vendor, okay, or if you're giving an asset in exchange, okay, this is new asset, and you're giving old asset in exchange, so that old asset will be credited. Many a times we give the old car in exchange of the new car, so we get the exchange value. Okay. So again, when we are giving a car as exchange, then we'll have loss or gain, right? So in this entry again, the loss on sale, exchange, let's write exchange. Loss on exchange. Or it can be gain on exchange. And you know how to calculate gain or loss. Yes, it? You have to compare. So this will be your selling price minus book value. This would be your selling price minus, exchange price. Let's not say selling price. We can say exchange price, but yeah, we call it, the formula will remain, we'll keep it same. Or if your book value is more, then book value minus the exchange price. So gain or loss can still be there when you are exchanging the asset and not selling it the old one. Okay? If you're just buying an asset in general through cash or through check or on credit, then the normal entry would be asset account debit to cash or to creditor, to vendor.
Ma'am, book value is also called the list price.
Book value is also called the
list price.
No. List price is the MRP, the maximum retail price, which is there on the product when you purchase it. Book value is the value of the asset in your books. Okay, when you draw your balance sheet, suppose I purchase, what is book value? Okay, now let's discuss. MRP and list price is totally different. Okay, see, I purchased a car for 10 lakh rupees. Okay, and I plan to use it for 10 years. So 10, if I have to spread the depreciation over the life of the asset. So if I'm using it for 10 years, so I can say I should depreciate my car 1 lakh per annum. Per year, I should depreciate my car by 1 lakh. So at the end of first year, I've used my car. So the obviously because of the wear and tear and damage and usage and passage of time and obsolescence or whatever due to these things, some accident or whatever. So the value of my car will depreciate. So suppose I'm charging depreciation of 1 lakh rupees per annum. So at the end of first year, the value of my car becomes 9 lakhs. So this is my original cost. This is my depreciation for first year. And my book value of the car at the end of first year is how much? End of first year. Keep on writing. Won't remember anything, huh? So end of first year, the value of my car is 9 lakh. This is my book value at the end of first year. Now, again, I'm using it for 1 more year and I used it for the entire year. So this is my depreciation for the second year. So as I keep on using my car keeps on getting older and older. And obviously there is more and more wear and tear. Even if I'm not using it much, just because of the passage of the time, the value decreases. Okay, so at the end of the second year, suppose the value of my car becomes 8 lakh. This is known as book value at the end of second year. Okay, fine. So I'll keep on using it for a number of years and I'll keep on depreciating it and my book value will keep on coming down. And this value is what I show in the balance sheet every year. I'll show my asset at this book value. Okay, it may be possible I'm showing it 8 lakh now. Now I don't want to sell it, but I just go into the market and try to find out what is the value of my car in the market. And I come to know I'll be able to, if I sell it, I'll be able to sell it only for 6 lakhs. So will I show my car at 6 lakhs? No. Do you remember historical cost principle? याद है? Principles wala chapter वापस revise कर. Historical cost principle says that you show your assets at original cost minus depreciation. Whatever be the market value, you don't bother. Okay. Because somebody will say it is 6 lakh, somebody will say it is 6 lakh 60,000. Somebody will say it's 5 lakh. So we cannot go by the whims and fancies of, different opinions. So we have to stick to original cost minus the depreciation till date. Now, suppose I use this car for 6 years, bacho. I use this car for 6 years. At the end of 6 years, or you can say at the beginning of 7th year, I sell my car for 2 lakhs. Please calculate, everybody try to use those formulas and calculate the gain or loss on the sale of car. Everybody using my depreciation amount I told you is 1 lakh per annum. At the end of the 6 years, or you can say at the beginning of the 7th year, I want to sell my car and I sold it for 2 lakh rupees. Please calculate the gain or loss on the sale of car. Everybody send me the answers on chat. Okay. Everybody calculate it for yourself and send the answers on chat. On Zoom chat itself, okay, not on WhatsApp. Calculate the answer. Correct, Navya. Correct, Arhan. Correct, Ananya. Correct, Sukriti and Priyanka. Others, please calculate and send me the answer. Correct, Isha. Akriti, Aditya, Anushka, Ashmit, Yunit, Kavya, Saparnika, send me the answers, please. Waiting for the answers. Yes, Rehan, correct now. Yes, after 10 years, it will be zero. Whatever is scrap we are getting, that is gain. Yes. But I'm selling it after at the end of 6 years only. Okay. Now see, Bachon, look over here. See, I used it for 6 years and my per annum depreciation is how much? It is 1 lakh rupees. Okay. So what will be my 6 years depreciation? 6 years depreciation would be 6 lakh rupees. Now, my book value ka formula is original cost of the car minus total depreciation. So original cost was 10 lakh rupees and I used it for 6 years. So I'll take 6 years ka depreciation, which is 6 lakh rupees. Every year I depreciate my car by 1 lakh. According to me, my value of the car goes 1 lakh down every year. So at the end of the 6th year, the book value of my car is 4 lakhs. This is in my books, I feel that it is 4 lakh. My book value is 4 lakh. I'm not going to sell it beyond this price. But then I'll have to sell it at what the price I'm getting in the market, right? My demand doesn't really work. The market doesn't work that way, right? In my books, I'm showing 4 lakh. See, look at the car. I've maintained it and it is worth 4 lakh according to me because each year I'm depreciating it by 1 lakh. It doesn't go like this, right? In the market, you'll get whatever the market will give you. Okay, so the selling price of the market value over here is 2 lakh rupees only, whereas I want to, sell it at 4 lakh, but it's not possible. So somebody's there. Okay. So when my book value is greater than my selling price, it will be a loss. Okay, so book value minus selling price will give me a loss. So book value, according to me, is 4 lakhs, selling price is 2 lakhs, so I get a loss of 2 lakhs. Is it clear? Okay, Rehan?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So everybody clear to you? Those who didn't send me the answers? Kavya, Soparnika, Yunit, Ashmit, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so basically we have to see how much is the depreciation of each year. Then what is the total depreciation? Original cost minus the depreciation will give you the depreciated value. That is basically the value which I'm showing in my books according to me. And then I have to compare it with the selling price and then I'll get my loss or profit. Okay. So this is how. So once you're able to calculate this figure, you'll be able to pass this entry easily because you will need, to calculate these figures, loss on exchange, gain on exchange, whether it is sale or exchange, whatever it is, the formulas will remain the same. Exchange value will become your selling price. Okay. So now moving on to the journal entry. So I have told you a little bit more maybe, okay, so that because the questions are not very difficult, but if you see the illustrations of the illustration will use these concepts. And then in depreciation, in any case, we are going to use these concepts. Okay, so please write them properly. Whatever is there on the screen, you're supposed to take down all these illustrations. Okay, because we don't remember. Okay, so it's better to note it down. Question number 9, we are doing page number 8.57. Please quickly come to page number 8.57. Question number 9.
Ma'am, can you send it?
Yeah, okay. You have the new books? You have, please click a picture and send it. Question, this page number 8.57 and 8.58. Maybe 8.59 also, 3 papers. Pages you send. Just a moment. Those who are not having the questions or the same book, I'm just sharing the pages. All the 3 you shared. Third one also you sent. Okay. So the questions are there with you. Starting with question number 9, page number 8.57. T.S. Grewal, 24 edition. Transactions relating to fixed assets. Okay, transactions relating to fixed assets. So please remember, assets when they increase are debited, and assets when they decrease are credited. And assets basically increase when we purchase them, and when we sell them or when we give them for exchange, they decrease, or when we depreciate them, then also the assets decrease. Okay, then we have to credit the asset. Okay, and one more important thing. Okay, any kind of, just this note is very important. Installation expenses, custom duty on imported assets, any wages or materials on installation, and any other expenses incurred on the assets before they are put to first use or capitalized. Now, what do we mean by that? I'll tell you. First, properly copy it because it's a very important note. Any kind of installation expenses, any types of type of custom duty, or your octroi, carriage. Okay, I can write transportation cost, basically. Transportation cost. Or wages on installation. Not repairs. Repairs is a revenue expenditure. Okay, this is thereby what I want to say. This is capital expenditure. Now I'll tell you what do I mean by that. Now suppose, have you all taken that? I'll change the sheet and then I'll explain it to you. Put to first use. Before they're ready for actual usage, everything what is spent will be added to their cost only. Suppose I purchased an AC. Okay, I purchased an AC for say 50,000. This was my purchase price. Purchase cost. Now the installation person comes and charges another 5,000 rupees for the installation. Installation charges, installation wages, okay, or installation expenses, whatever you call that. Okay, suppose we buy any big machines, those machines have to be installed there. So, okay, those engineers, the technical people will come and, install it and, make it ready for use. Okay, or any other such expenses, okay, will be added to the cost of the AC only. So my AC will not be only this 50,000, the bill which I've paid, but even the installation charges. Okay, before it is put to first use. This also will be added to the cost of AC only. So my AC will be 55,000. So my entry would be AC account debit to cash or bank, whatever, 55,000. Okay. Now, this is the correct. I'm not putting AC account debit, 50,000. Wages account debit, 5,000. Installation expenses. Suppose these are installation wages. To cash. No, this is wrong entry, 55,000. Just write the wrong entry also and then put a big wrong over here. So if any wages or any installation expenses are given up, you hearing the word wages, you will quickly put the entry wages account debit to cash. No, don't put it that. Just keep on adding it in the cost of the AC only. So every time any expenditure, suppose after 3 days, okay, I'm not put it to use. I'm not put this AC to use. And the gas leakage is there. Okay. Or maybe some other work, some stand is installed, for which I had to pay for this stand another 5,000 rupees. So again, the entry would be AC account debit to cash. No other entry would be there. Everything you will keep on capitalizing, you will keep on adding to the cost of the AC only. Is it clear? No other thing would be there, only AC. हर चीज में AC आएगा. जब तक कि वो first, अभी I started using it, and then there is some problem, and then the repairs have to be done. Then the entry would be repairs account debit to cash. Then the entry would be repairs account debit to cash. And this would be your revenue expenditure. But till the time it is put to first use, this word is very important, first use. Till the time it is put to first use, everything would be added in the cost of the asset only. Suppose I buy a second-hand machinery, okay, or a second-hand car for that matter. Okay, so purchased second-hand machinery for rupees 5 lakhs. Keep on writing the example. Now, this second-hand machinery had to be renovated. Okay, and that huge renovation is known as overhauling. Okay, that is known as the overhauling. So the overhauling cost, what is overhauling is the basic, the renovation cost which you have to spend to make it ready for your use, because it was a second-hand asset. Okay, so the overhauling cost was, say, 20,000. So my entry would be machinery account debit to cash or to bank, 5,20,000.
Ma'am, if the charges are made on different days, then still we'll
Yes.
have to write. Ma'am, if the charges were made on separate days, like the overhauling cost was made
Hey,
on
that's
the.
fine. Let it be a separate days. So every day, because we put the entries in chronological order. So we are not going to add them. Every day, the day the money is spent, we'll pass the entry machine account debit to cash machine. Till the date it is put to first use. But suppose this second-hand machinery is there. This entry, suppose I passed on one particular day when I purchased this. Say on 1st Jan, I purchased it. Okay, on 3rd Jan, the engineer came for installation and he did overhauling, the major repairs. What is overhauling is your major repairs, right? He did that. Okay, and his wages, the total bill was 20,000 rupees. So again, the entry on 3rd Jan would be machine account debit to cash. Okay, 5 lakh. This is 20,000. Okay, then I started using it. And then there was some problem. So on 10th Jan, again, I had to get some repairs done. So then the entry would be repairs account debit to cash. So it is not relevant with the date. It may be any date, but yeah, if that date falls after your work has been done, you've started using it, then it will be revenue expenditure.
Yes.
Because see, the significance of adding this in this cost is I'll be charging depreciation on 5,20,000 and not 5 lakh. So that is why we call it is capitalized. It is, we keep on adding in the asset cost only, because the depreciation will be on the total cost, but not on the revenue expenditure. Right? Suppose I buy a building. Or I buy an office, not a building. Say I buy an office. Okay. For say 50 lakh rupees. Now that office is in a bad shape and I have to get the repairing work done. Okay. I have to get the whitewash done. Okay. I have to get the furniture polished. Furniture is there, it is getting polished too. And this takes another 2 lakh rupees. So I'll pass the entries office account debit, land and building or office account debit to cash, 52 lakh rupees. And if the payment is being made on different days, every time I'm going to pass the entry office account debit to cash, office account debit to cash, office account debit to cash. Okay, now I've started using it. And then next year, I again feel that some repairs are to be done. That will become revenue expenditure then. Then I won't pass office account debit to cash. I'll pass the entry repairs account debit to cash. Right? Then another year, again, I want to get the polishing done, the renovation done. Fine, that is the revenue expenditure. But next year, suppose I want that, okay, my office should have some parking space for my employees. So I get the parking shed made, parking lot, I get it constructed. That will be a capital expenditure. Okay, so you will have to use a little bit of your wit over here, that what should be capital expenditure, what should be revenue expenditure. We discussed this revenue expenditure, capital expenditure in one of the chapters, if you remember, I think chapter 17 or something. We did many questions relating to what is capital expenditure and what is revenue expenditure. So one thing you have to remember is capital expenditure means your asset will be debited and revenue expenditure will be debited by that name, whatever that expense is. Like I talked about one example wherein we had a cinema hall, and that cinema hall added 10 extra, seats, recliners. So that will be a capital expenditure. That won't come under repairs. That is addition of the capacity. So whenever your capacity increases, that will be capitalized. Then you won't call it repairs. Okay. Or maybe you have some normal chairs and you're converting it to recliners. So that will again be a capital expenditure and not repairs, or, because the renovation or upgrading is also your capital expenditure. Clear? So now come to these entries. So come to these entries. Question number 9. Draw the format of the journal.
Ma'am, can we write the account name as repairing charges account instead of repairs account?
Yes, repairs account debit or repairing charges account debit. Then it is a revenue expenditure. If it is before installation or before being ready to use or before being put to first use, then it will be that asset account. So question number 9. April 2024, April 1. Paid repairing charges on existing machinery. No, this won't be machinery account debit. It would be repairing charges or repairs account debit, because these are already existing machines. They are not being put to first use. So it'd be repairing charges account debit to cash 1,000. Yes, of course. That is this entry, no exchange of asset, I told you. That will be this entry then, Sukriti. This entry. Purchase of an asset with the exchange of asset. Okay, but so first entry is a revenue expenditure. This is your revenue expenditure. I'm writing this revenue expenditure in the narration, which is not required just because you got confused. Okay, otherwise we'll just say repairing charges paid. Repairing charges paid is a revenue expenditure. We don't add it in the cost of the machine, no. Had it been repairing before existing machinery, existing in our own business. April 2. Purchased a new machinery, 42,500. This is very simple. So machine account debit to cash, 42,500. Okay. Because see, when we purchase the machinery, we are paying the cash. So cash account will be credited, right? Cash goes out, credit. Cash goes out, credit. Many of you must still be having confusion. Cash aspect, if the cash aspect is clear, most of your entries will become very clear, even if you don't understand the very depths of the entries. But of course, gradually it will automatically happen that you will understand both the logics. That's why we are debiting machinery. The asset which increases will be debited, then the asset which decreases will be credited. Okay. April 3 entry. Okay, now we start with you all. Just give it a try. Okay, after the April 3 entry, freight and carriage per machinery, 2,500.
Mom, is freight shipping charges? Freight account. And what is freight account?
So many times I've told you all these, your transportation cost and the taxes, small taxes.
Freight account debited 2500 to cash
Hmm?
account. Freight account debited 2500.
अरे नहीं बाबा, इतनी देर पढ़ा के फिर तुम एंट्री तो वही दोगे। एक तो फ्राइट नहीं है, फ्रेट है। ठीक है, हाँ, यस, करेक्ट सुकृति। Machinery account debit to cash. These, see, I told you, all the transportation cost and everything will be added to that only, right? Akriti, didn't I tell? Okay. All the expenses till the machine. देखो, लिखवाया था ना आकृति, just read it out. What is written on the screen? Read it out. Only then everybody would remember. More 90% of the students will do this mistake. Okay, Akriti? They'll do freight account debit, carriage account debit to cash. Just read it out. Read the note out for everyone loudly.
Installation expenses, custom duty on imported assets, and any other expenses incurred on the assets before they are put to first use are capitalized.
And what do we mean by capitalize? That means machine account mein hi we'll keep on adding. Right? And what are these other expenses? Any other expenses would be like wages on installation, any materials on installation, any kind of transportation cost, any kind of freight, like we said, freight or carriage. Okay, all these will be added to the machinery cost. So the April 3 entry would be machinery account debit to cash. And the amount would be 2005. And machinery, when we purchase a machinery, it's not just machinery ka bill jitna, uske baad bhi there are so many expenses. We have to call the installation engineer. We have to, if it is second-hand machinery, the overhauling repairs will be there. Okay, carriage expense, freight expense, octroi duty, customs duty if it is imported. All those will be added to machine account only. Okay, come to April 4 entry. April 4 entry, I hope you won't make a mistake in that. Yes, Atri.
Machinery account debit to cash.
Very good. Machinery account debit to cash. Okay, but yeah, in narration, you have to specify what you're talking about in this entry. Machinery account debit to cash, and the amount would be 5,000. So the narration would be installation expenses paid. Or in this, it would be freight and carriage. On machine. Right? Okay, moving on to April 5. Aditya.
Machinery account debit to cash.
Yes, perfect. Machinery account debit to cash. And in the you can mention in the narration being second-hand machinery purchased. So 18,000, 18,000. April 6. Yes, Priyanka. Very good. So April 8 is again machinery account debit to cash, because these are the overhauling charges. Because when you're purchasing second-hand machinery, definitely you'll have to spend some more money on, some basic repairs being done before it is put to first use. But yeah, you put a second-hand machinery to use and then you're getting it repaired. That will then become a revenue expenditure. Okay, so just write the narration of this last April 6 entry. Repairing charges on, write the narration, what I'm writing, repairing charges on second-hand machine.
And for April 6, shouldn't we add the above machinery purchase amount with this repairing amount?
Yeah, we'll add it for the depreciation purpose, but entries we'll have to pass in the chronological order. This is what you're saying?
No, as in the amount side. Like as they mentioned, they paid the repairing charges on the above machinery. And in the last slide, you had discussed that the purchase cost for the second-hand machinery plus the overhauling cost will be
Yeah,
added.
but we'll have to, yeah, but if I ask you purchase cost, then you will tell me, ma'am, this 18,000 plus 2,500. Okay, you'll tell me that. That will be the purchase cost. But entries we'll have to pass in chronological order, date-wise. Yeah, machinery account you will get, still in machinery account, the ledger will be made date-wise only. Okay, but yeah, if I have to calculate, say, 10% depreciation on the second-hand machinery, so the cost would be 18,000 plus 2,500, 20,500 into 10%. So for the depreciation purpose, I'll have to add up the cost, but entry-wise, I'll pass them according to the date. Yeah, because journal is maintained in chronological order and date-wise order, just like you maintain your daily journal on date-wise basis. So suppose I have to, I keep on spending in the whole month, and then I want to see that, okay, how much did I spend on my coffee? I had coffee twice or thrice in the month. I had it outside. So how much? So what I'll do, I'll add it up. But then if I'm talking about the daily journal, I'll be keeping it on that particular day. I'll be making the entry, that this day. And then at the end of the month, I'll add it up. So repairing charge on the second-hand machinery before being put to first use. Before being put to first use. Okay, so this is how you have to pass the entry, बच्चों. Okay, so be careful, बच्चों. यहाँ पे ऐसी ही entry आएगी, you will get confused and you will write installation wages paid on machinery. You will put wages account debit to cash. No, it'll be wrong. It'll be machinery account debit to cash. So please remember, that is why I told you this note is very important for your fixed assets. This note is very important. Put a 5-star over here. Okay, so don't, ye entry aegi, Isha. You have your exam on Monday, na? So your entry will be there for your asset part. Okay. I'll just quickly come to the entries which you wanted to discuss today. Okay, I'll at the end of the class, I'll come. Then April 6th, we have done now. This is question is done. Okay. Now coming to these very important entries, very interesting entries. Question number 10, the adjustment entries. These are the entries you were talking about, Isha. Okay. So we'll cover them today. Now these adjustment entries are very simple. If you have been doing whatever has been done with me. Okay, many a times I have talked about these entries. Okay, adjustment entries. So if you have clearly understood what do you mean by outstanding expenses, again, I'm coming to the same discussion. Okay, very important. Please write it again. Outstanding expenses or expenses due or expenses payable, whatever the name is. What are these? The expenses which have become due, but we have not paid them. And what are they? They are current liability. They are current liability. They are current liability. Okay. Now liabilities are credited. Clear wala rule yaad hai? Yes, Isha, liabilities have a basic credit nature. So liabilities are credited. So the entry for outstanding expenses would be, till now we have done this only, that what are outstanding expenses and whether they are current asset, current liabilities. And we have seen their adjustment in the accounting equation. Yes, Akriti will tell me what is their adjustment in the accounting equation. Akriti, what is the impact in the accounting equation? You have your test on Monday, Akriti.
Yes, ma'am.
Accounting equation का ना फिर बताओ. Outstanding, हाँ बताओ सुकृति. No. How can you decrease cash? Outstanding expenses का मतलब ही यही है, you have not paid it. See, to understand the correct impact, you need to know the definition. Yes, Navya, I know you must be knowing for sure. So outstanding expenses are the expenses which have become due but not yet paid. So I cannot deduct it from the cash. Okay. So as far as my accounting equation is concerned, उसमें हमारा क्या impact होता है? Decrease from capital because it is an expense. A, and B is create new liability column. Yes, Akriti? याद आया? अब तो रिवाइज कर लो, आज तो क्या सैटरडे ही हो गया, मंडे को टेस्ट है. Okay. And as far as the entry is concerned, but your entry is very simple because it is an expense. So that particular expense will be debited. If we're talking about outstanding rent, then the entry would be rent account debit because rent is an expense to outstanding rent account. So a liability being created and liability is being credited and expense is being debited. If it is outstanding salary, then it be salary account debited to outstanding salary account. Okay, Isha. So understanding the logic, the entry would become very simple. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Correct, Ananya. Correct answer for accounting equation. Okay, Pacho. So outstanding rent is the rent or outstanding expense is the expense which has become due. We should have paid it, but we've not paid it. So as far as accounting equation is concerned, decrease from capital because it is an expense and create a new liability column. And the entry would be rent account, expense account debit to outstanding expense. In general, if I say, if not particular expense, then in general, my journal entry is expense account debit to outstanding expense account, whatever the name of that expense is. Clear, Isha? Okay, moving on to the next thing. Number 2 is prepaid expense. Or you can also call them expenses paid in advance. Expenses paid in advance. And they are current asset for us. Okay, prepaid expense is an asset for me. I've paid the rent in advance. I've paid the salary in advance. I'm very happy. I mean, now I can sit and relax. Okay, so prepaid expenses are always your current assets. And assets are debited. Okay, first let's see what is the accounting equation treatment. So accounting equation, we are revising this also because some of the students are having their exam of accounting equation. So accounting equation में A effect आपका आता है decrease from cash because these expenses have been paid. And second thing, a new asset column created. New asset column created. And the entry would be the journal entry. Yes, Sukriti, what would be the journal entry? So if it is prepaid rent, so it'll be prepaid rent account debited to rent account. If it is prepaid insurance, it'll be prepaid insurance account debit. Prepaid insurance account debit. To insurance. Okay, so basically in general, if I want to define it, the entry would be prepaid expense account debit to expense. Right, Isha? Why? Because assets are debited. So if a new asset is being created, that means as far as the journal entry is concerned, we know clear ka rule, asset will be debited. Okay. Is it clear, Isha?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to make it particularly clear for you, Isha. I'm asking you again and again because you have your test on Monday, right? Now the
Can
third,
you show the previous slide once?
sure. This one,
Ma'am, again previous.
this.
Yes, ma'am. Just a second.
See, all these entries, your outstanding expenses, prepaid expenses, accrued income, and unearned income, go by their accounting equation treatment only. Like whether a new asset or column or new liability column is to be created accordingly. Okay, now the third one is your accrued income. Now we am talking about the incomes, right, Bacho? Accrued income, income earned. Yeah, income earned, but not yet received. Not yet received. I have earned my income. I have done my part, but I have not received the income. So I'll receive it now. So it is a current asset for me. So asset will be debited, we know that. So the entry would be accrued income account debit to income account. Okay, so first let's write the entry and then we'll see the accounting equation treatment. So the entry would be this accrued income you call Isha outstanding income also. Okay, because you were a bit confused from the very beginning with the terminology. But generally, broadly, mostly 99% of the times we call that accrued income, right?
Okay, ma'am.
So it'd be accrued income account debit to income. This is the generic entry. So if I talk about accrued interest, what will be the entry, Priyanka? Yes, very good. Accrued interest account debit because it's a current asset, so it will be debited to interest account. See, interest account is being credited because it is my income. And if I talk about the accounting equation, what is the treatment? A, because I have not received it, so I cannot increase the cash, but I'll increase the capital. Increase the capital because it is the income of this year. So increase the capital even if you have not received it. And second, create a new asset column. Create a new asset column. Right, Akriti?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is how you're revising your accounting equation also. Now moving on to number 4. Can I change the sheet? Take it down. Aram se likh lo. Coming on to the 4th one, your unearned income. Unearned is the income earned, income not earned, sorry. Yeah, received but not earned. Income received but not earned, or this is what we call as income received in advance. Income received in advance. Or you can say income earned, but income received but not earned. Income received but not earned. So the accounting, and it's a current liability for us. It's a current liability. So liabilities will be credited. We know that. So the entry would be income account debit to unearned income. That will be specific income. This I'm telling you the journal generic entry. If it is unearned commission, unearned interest, it can be unearned rent if you are the landlord. Okay, so if I'm talking about unearned interest, okay, then it will be interest account debit to unearned interest. And if the accounting equation treatment is concerned, accounting equation में इसको कैसे treat करेंगे? Yeah, so A, increase cash because we have received it, and B, new liability column to be created. Yes, Akriti, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the next entry which we are doing over here, the adjustment entries is of depreciation. Depreciation is the expense. It is decrease in the value of the asset due to passage of time, wear and tear, obsolescence, change in technology, or accidents. Okay. And because of which the value of the asset goes down, it is an expense, a revenue expenditure. So depreciation account debit to asset account. So my asset account will be credited because its value is going down, and depreciation being an expenditure will be debited. Okay. So if it is depreciation on machinery, it will be depreciation account debit to machinery. If it is depreciation on car, it will be depreciation account debit to car. Sixth entry is interest on capital. Now, what is interest on capital? See, this owner invests money into the business. Okay, suppose he's putting 10 lakh rupees. It is known as capital. What owner is putting into the business is capital. And obviously, business should give the person, the proprietor, some return on this money which he has invested. Had he not invested it over here in this business, he would have, maybe invested in some bank or in some other company, would have purchased shares or something he would have invested. He would have got return from there also, no? So the business gives him interest on capital. Suppose it is 10% per annum interest on capital. So interest on capital, bacho, is an expense for the business. It is expense for the business. Because business has to give it to the proprietor. So interest on capital is an expense for the business. And of course, it is income for the owner. We have to pass the entries from the business point of view because business and owner are two separate entities. Okay, so interest on capital being an expense for the business will be debited. So interest on capital account will be debited to capital account. His capital will increase because ultimately he is getting it. No, it's income for him. So capital will increase. Very important entry. 12th में इसको बहुत 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 डिटेल में करेंगे. बच्चे ये बेसिक एंट्री ही भूल जाते हैं, which is such a simple entry. And 12th में the first chapter is all about interest in capital to capital, this entry. Okay, so is it clear to you why we have debited interest on capital and why we have credited capital? Interest on capital is the interest which is given by the business to the owner, and therefore it is an expense for the business. Expenses are debited. Clear wala rule. And capital has been credited because it is being given to the owner, so his capital is increasing. Okay. Done. Can I change the sheet, bacho? Okay. So the next entry is interest on drawings. So for this, we should know what do we mean by drawings, and then we'll come to it. So this owner will obviously need money for his expenses, paying the fee of his son's school or purchasing something for him. So he will withdraw the money from the business. So when he withdraws the money from the business, the arrow is going from business to the owner. This is known as drawings for his personal expenses. So obviously business is also going to ask the owner to give the interest to the business. So the owner will give interest on drawings, and this arrow is moving from the owner to the business, and this is an income for the business. And incomes are credited, we know. So what should be the entry then? Interest on drawings will be credited. Interest on drawings will be credited, being the income. And drawings account you can debit, or capital account you can debit. Okay, so we'll debit drawings so that we can relate it, it will become same. You can understand that. Interest on capital to capital and drawings to interest on drawings. Yeah, ultimately these drawings are deducted from the capital only, Suprati. So Rather than doing it directly, we go through this route. And then those total drawings we deduct from the capital in the final balance sheet. So drawings account interest on. Okay, and what will be the narration is also important over here. Interest charged, interest allowed to the proprietor. Interest allowed to proprietor on his capital. Narration is important. Please write narration. Don't be lazy. Interest allowed to proprietor on his capital. And the second would be interest charged from proprietor. Interest charged from proprietor on his drawings. Interest charged from proprietor on his drawings. So many important entries we've done today. And the last one which I'm telling you is the opening entry. Number 8. So under adjustment entries, we've done today the depreciation, outstanding expenses, prepaid expenses, accrued income, unearned income, then depreciation, I had covered earlier only, and then this interest on capital, interest on drawings. And now talking about the opening entry. Have we written about this opening entry already? Just, yeah. Did I make you write it? The theory of opening entry. What do we mean by opening entry? Okay, maybe we'll write it again. Opening entry is the first entry passed. Likh lo, don't, won't take much time. Opening entry is the first entry passed at the beginning. We have written this. Then write down. Opening entry is the first entry passed at the beginning of the year to incorporate the closing balances of the previous year So opening entry is the first entry which is passed. This is the first entry which will be passing in our books at the beginning of the next year. Yes. Opening entry is the first entry which is passed at the beginning of the year to incorporate the closing balances of the previous year. So like if I had cash balance of 10 lakh with me on 31st March 2024. So that will become my opening cash balance of 1st April 2024 when my new year is starting, which is 24-25. Okay, so whatever is our position basically on 31st March will become the closing position or the closing balance sheet will become our opening balance sheet on 1st April. Okay, and for that and this is very simple entry. So we debit all the assets accounts separately. Assets account are debited one by one, like my cash account debit, my bank account debit, debtors account debit with names, Vijay account debit, J account debit, this account debit, Asha account debit, whatever. Okay, all the assets account are debited and all the liabilities accounts are credited to liabilities account. Because liabilities are credited, no, and assets are debited. And the balancing figure will be capital. Capital is also a liability, no, so it will be credited. If it is given, well and good. If capital is not given, sometimes they'll show you smartness, they won't give you the capital. And some students will forget it. And they wouldn't even care to see that the debits and credits are equal or not. So if your debits are more than the credits, that simply shows that they have not given you the capital. They want you to calculate the capital and put it by yourself. And sometimes if it is a straightforward question, they'll give you everything, all the assets, they'll give you all the liabilities and even the capital. So then you just have to copy it from the question. Keep on copying, keep on copying. Okay, one by one, one by one. Just a illustration because passing this entry will take a lot of time. Very boring entry. So maybe just we can see the illustration how the opening entry is passed. Come to page number 8.4 to illustration 16. In the old books also it must be there. Balance sheet of RK and Company. RK and Company. In the new books, this is illustration 16, bacho. Those who are not having, I'm just sending them the picture. Just see, it is a very, very clerical kind of a thing to pass the opening journal entry. They have already done it. Okay. See, bacho, opening journal entry. You have been given the balance sheet of RK and Company as of 31st March 2024 is given. All the balance sheet, all the capital liabilities, everything is given in the capital they've given. And then you had to pass the opening journal entry. Now see, just look, they're just copying all the asset side first they've taken, all the assets are debited, okay? So land and building account debit, computers account debit, furniture and fixture account debit, inventory account debit, sundry debtors account debit, cash in hand, cash in bank account debit. You can just put the same name, okay, and write all the figures. And then all the liability side is credited because liabilities are credited. Clear, wala. Your liabilities are credited, capital is credited, and assets are debited. Expenses or revenue to during the year only, no? So in the beginning, the opening entry will have only capital, assets, and liabilities. And if the capital is not given, then say in the next question, illustration 17, if you see. Okay, in the picture, it is visible. Okay, you see, all the assets have been given, but they have not given the capital. So see, they've taken capital as the balancing figure. Can you see the solution? See the solution. Capital was not given in the question. Everything was given. So you'll have to pick out the assets. You should know what all are assets. So please keep on revising your basic term. Assets में हमारे fixed assets आते हैं, current assets आते हैं, machine, land and building, furniture and fixtures, plant and machinery. Okay. So this will be our journal. This will be our opening entry. Okay, then come to. So these were the special entries and the adjustment entries which you've done, right? Now coming to okay, so basic concepts, bacho, I have covered everything in this chapter. Okay, Isha, the concepts I've covered, but yeah, you need a lot of practice. So as of now, what you're supposed to do is, because we have a test, so what you'll do is you'll go through all the illustrations, bacho. Miscellaneous is covered in all this. I've covered all the concepts, but passing the entries won't be that simple. Okay. All the concepts I have taken. Hardly anything is left. Okay. But what I'll suggest is, instead of doing unsolved questions, please do all the illustrations because we have a test on Tuesday. So what you have to do is, you have to do all illustrations.
Ma'am, I had a doubt actually. It was in the adjustment entries. Question number 10. How will we pass the fifth entry?
Okay, question number 10, we'll do it quickly. Will we? Okay. Maybe we can do it orally. Will that work? Will you be able to do it then, bacho? We'll quickly do it orally. Okay, first one, or maybe I'll just keep on writing. You can see, we'll put it as homework. If you want to copy, you can copy. Otherwise, you can do it on your. Interest due but not received. So this is what? This is our accrued interest. This is accrued interest, right? So the entry would be accrued interest account debit to interest. Yes, Navya?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I had just
Okay.
had a doubt in the fifth one actually.
Okay, let's do everything. Salaries due to staff is your outstanding salary. So it'll be outstanding salary, no, salary account debit to outstanding salary because it is a current liability. It is a current asset. Third one, and please remember, assets are debited and the liabilities are credited. Out of the rent paid this year, 5,000 is for the next year. So this is my prepaid expense. Prepaid expense is a current asset. So the entry would be prepaid rent account debit to rent. Fourth one, provide 10% depreciation on furniture costing 1 lakh. So your depreciation amount, depreciation account debit to furniture, and the amount would be 10,000. Okay, depreciation account debit to furniture amount is 10,000. Goods used in making furniture. I have used these are special entries relating to goods. When we use our own goods to make our own assets, what will be the entry? Furniture account debit to purchases account. Okay, this is special entry relating to goods, and always with the cost price bacho. Always with the cost price. The special entries are passed with the cost price only, not with the selling price. So 5,000 amount.
Sales price.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the sales price, I guess.
Not the sales price. Special entries always. See, when I use my own furniture to make my own office furniture, my own timber, okay,
Oh,
or
no,
own furniture.
you have written the sales price, 5,000.
Okay, I've written the sales price. Okay, cost price. Cost price is 4,000. So 4,000. Yeah, we are going to use the cost price 4,000. Sixth one. Received commission 20,000 by check, half of which is in advance. Now this one is interesting. See, this one, sixth one is good. I have received commission, half of which now I have received it through check. So सबसे पहले तो check कितने का मिला ये करो, 20,000 का check मिला. To commission only 10,000. To unearned commission or advance commission is 10,000. This entry is important, but mark it important in your books. ठीक है ईशा, अच्छे से कर लेना, ये एंट्री आएगी. Okay, 7th. Allow interest on capital 8,000. So interest on capital account debit to capital, direct entries है ये तो. 8,000 you didn't even have to calculate. Sometimes they can give you the capital and they can give you the rate of interest. So you'll have to multiply and get the amount. Here they have directly given you the amount only. Interest on capital to capital. Okay. Next one is 8th one. Again, very simple. Direct entry. Drawings to interest on drawings. Drawings, debit to interest on drawings. And the amount is also given. Here also they can make you calculate the amount by giving percentage and drawings, total drawings and percentage. You'll have to multiply and get it. Here they give you directly. Opening journal entry to kari loge. Now see in opening journal entry in question number 11. They have not given you capital. So be careful, your debits and credits won't match. So your debits will be more than the credits. So that balancing figure would be capital in the credit side. Then miscellaneous journal entries. These
So
you'll
what
be
happens when the debit side and credit side were equal for opening journal entry?
Then we don't have to do anything. They would have given us the capital also. Then too we just have to copy. Don't use the brain at all. ठीक है, बिल्कुल कुछ दिमाग नहीं लगाना जबरदस्ती का. गलत कर दोगे entry पे. So सिर्फ keep on debiting the assets. This debit, this debit, this debit. To keep on capital crediting the liabilities. और फिर capital भी दिया हुआ होगा. है ना, capital दिया हुआ होगा तभी वो match करेगा कहाँ पे. Capital नहीं दिया हुआ होगा, then it won't match. Then your debit will be definitely greater than the credit. And that difference, the balancing figure would be capital. Okay. No other asset and liability they will keep as missing, only the capital. Okay. So if it is matching, fine. And the condition in that case would be your capital would be given to you. If they don't match, then the debit would be higher than the credit. Then miscellaneous, पढ़ लीजिए. If quickly you want to ask me some doubt, you can ask me. That ma'am, how will we pass this entry? Okay, let's continue the class for 5 more minutes, bacho. Quickly go through question number 12. Read the question बिल्कुल apparently लगेगी ये कैसे होगा एंट्री, लग रहा है कि सोच के हो जाएगी, देन फाइन. इफ यू फील कि नहीं ये नहीं पास होगी, देन यू आस्क. Being opening balances incorporated. For opening journal entry, your narration would be opening balances incorporated. Sometimes narration becomes really important.
What will be the name of the creditor in the B part of the 12th question?
12th question mein B part.
Creditor ka name.
So I'll just wait. Let me remove this. Today we are through with all the. Okay. So now Navya wants me to solve question number 12 ka B part.
Yes.
Okay. Bought a machinery for 25 lakh by making a down payment of 10%. So what about the 90%? What did we do? Creditor, vendor. Okay. So that person will become our creditor or vendor. So the entry we'll be passing would be machinery account debit to cash account. 10% only we are making, 2,50,000.
So ma'am, the name will be
To vendor account. If the name is given, we'll put the name of the vendor. If not, then we'll just put vendor, or you can put creditor.
creditor.
But generally we put vendor. Okay, because creditors are for goods. When we purchase goods, our stock, our main item of trade on credit, then we put the name creditor. Otherwise, those are creditors for fixed assets. They are generally known by the name vendors. And that would be 90% of this figure. That is 22,50,000. And my machinery will be debited with 25 lakh, of course. Okay, C entry, Priyanka. देखना गलत पास करेगी. Very good. Machine account debit to cash. Okay, this entry, be careful, Isha. Don't write wages account debit to cash. Be very careful. Machinery account debit to cash. Okay. Okay, Isha, tell me. Fourth entry, bought goods from Chabra Brothers.
Ma'am, purchases account debit to Chhabra Brothers.
Yes, because the name of the party is given, so it's a credit transaction. So it'll be purchases account debit to Chabra Brothers. Very good. Okay. Withdrawn from bank. Rapid fire round हो रहा है. Guneet का mic is not working, है ना? The best excuse not to attempt any question. Ma'am परेशान ही नहीं करूँगी. I'll talk to your mother today, Guneet. पूरे साल, है ना? Okay, Rehan, tell me. Withdrawn from bank. What kind of entry it is?
A contra entry.
Very good. Contra entry. And what would be the entry?
Cash account debited to bank account.
Very good. Cash account debited to bank account. Because my bank account is going down and my cash account is increasing. Very good.
So ma'am,
Okay.
withdrawn will be for the office use only, not for the drawings.
Yes. Withdrawn will be for office use only unless and until they have written for personal use.
Yes.
So we take it as official use. Yes. Okay. This F entry is very important. ये तो पक्का ही आएगी ईशा. This F entry very important. Okay, पक्का आएगी. Now, give me the entry, बच्चों. Who would try to attempt it? Yeah, raise. Okay, Atrey, some students have another class, so I'll just discuss this last one entry, very important. So just write, the entry would be interest on loan account debit. Interest on loan account debit. This is my revenue expenditure, so it is expenses are debited. Okay, because it is an expense. Okay, and then loan is being repaid. So my liability is going down. So when liability increases, we credit it. When liability decreases, we debit it. So loan account would be debited and to bank because I'm making the payment through check or to cash, whatever. So it will be 32,000. 3,000 is interest and 35. तो अब तो cash से ले लो, bank loan है तो generally हम bank से लेते हैं ना. बैंक लोन है तो बैंक से लेना पड़ेगा बच्चों, कैश से नहीं बोलेंगे। बैंक लोन है ना, अगर सिर्फ लोन होता तो फिर हम उसको कैश से कर देते, लेकिन बैंक लोन है तो बैंक से हुए। इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन अकाउंट डेबिट, बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट टू बैंक. Very important entry, Isha. Take care. This will be there. Okay, so I'll wind up the class over here because some students have another class. Please go through these. Now, don't go through the unsolved questions. Go through the illustrations because these unsolved ones I'll be solving with you. But for the test, you have to prepare. So you'll have to go through the illustrations and all the back exercises. Okay. So test on Tuesday of accounting equation and journal. All the best. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye now.